Hello everyone, today we're doing a tiger in the zoo. This poem comes after chapter 2, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. You are aware that that chapter is about freedom from slavery, freedom from apartheid, freedom from being caged. So is this poem. This poem contrasts a tiger in the zoo with that in a natural habitat, and the poet advocates that an animal should be free to live in its own space. They shouldn't be caged. Let's look at the poem. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the waterhole where plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, bringing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he's locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Poet Leslie Norris. Okay, now the first question that I usually ask: can you identify the rhyme scheme? Look at the words at the end of the stanza. Stripes, cage, quiet, rage. Cage and rage rhyme, but stripes and quiet doesn't. Shadow, grass, hole, pass. Again, grass and pass rhyme, but shadow and hole do not. So you can see it follows a B, C, B rhyme scheme. Here also A, B, C, B. Look at the third one. Edge, village, A, B, C, B, right? The fourth stanza, however, doesn't really rhyme, bar, visitor, but it's visitor, but usually, poets take the authority, the liberty, and tend to make words rhyme. That's called poetic license. Okay, so we can assume that the poem throughout follows ABCB rhyme scheme. Okay, here also star, car. Okay. Another thing I want you to notice about the structure is, look at the first paragraph. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage. The tiger is in the cage at this point. But in the second stanza, he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. He should be in nature. This is where he is. This is where he should be. The third stanza, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. Look at the first line of the second and the third stanza. He should be. Okay, this is how it should be. Fourth, but he's locked in a concrete cell. Okay, so this is where he is, in a cell. So first is in the cell, second and third in the nature, fourth again in the cell, and fifth, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. He's in the city and staring at the brilliant stars. The last stanza is also in the cage, right? So the structure is stanzas 1, 4 and 5, the tiger's in the cage. Stanzas 2 and 3, the tiger is where he should be. Okay, it's as the poet says that this is where he should be. Okay, let's go line by line. He stalks in his vivid stripes. Look at the first word, he. It doesn't say it. So can we assume that it's personification here? He stalks in his vivid stripes, vivid, bright, the few steps of his cage. The tiger is impatient. He's moving to and fro. He's going from one side to the other, and there are very few steps, meaning the cage is small. On pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. So he's walking very quietly. Cats are known to walk very quietly, and the pads are, they're so soft that it's like on velvet. Okay, you can see there's a metaphor here, pads of velvet. Okay, it doesn't say pads are like velvet, it says pads of velvet. It's a metaphor here. In his quiet rage, he's angry inside because he's caged up. Again, look at the word combination here, quiet and rage. Silence and anger put together, it's an oxymoron. He's angry because he's caged. Second stanza. He should be lurking in shadows. What should he be doing? He should be hiding in shadows, looking for a hunt. Sliding through long grass in nature, near the water hole where plump deer pass. This is what he should be doing. He should be hunting in the open. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. This is what the tiger should be doing. At the edge of the jungle there's a village, and he should go till there and terrorize, scare the people. Baring his white fangs, his claws. He should be showing his teeth, his claws, and scaring the people. But that's not happening. He's locked in a concrete cell made out of cement, a small cell, a jail. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Okay, this is his reality. This is where he is, in a concrete cell, and all his strength, he's caged up. He cannot do anything about it. His strength behind bars. Also notice there's an alliteration there, behind bars. Even in this second stanza, plump deer pass, there's an alliteration here. And I missed snarling. Can anybody guess what figure of speech would be there in snarling? I hope you got that right. The answer is onomatopoeia, right? It's a sound word, snarling. Okay. But he's locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He is moving from one edge of the cage to the other, and he's ignoring the people. He's not interested in what's happening inside. You can see, that the tiger is angry, he's frustrated, he's impatient, he wants to come out of this cage. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Look at the word used, the adjective used with eyes, brilliant. They are thoughtful. He's a smart tiger, okay? And what is the action that's happening? He's staring at the stars. He wants to be out in the open. So there's some amount of sadness in his eyes. He should be in the open, he should be hunting, he should be terrorizing village. But what does he do? Just pace about the cage and hear the patrolling cars. Interesting, right? A few more things that I want to discuss is there is enjambment in the poem. Every stanza has one full stop, and the last often the lines continue, like, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. That's one full line. The poet moves to the next line without a line and punctuation, right? Then I've discussed the rhyme scheme. Sorry. There's a lot of imagery. There's a lot of visual imagery. You can visualize what is happening, and you can even visualize what should be, right? Stalking, lurking, locked up, right? Okay, the last stanza also has auditory imagery. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, right? Okay, so that's pretty much what I had to say about the poem. The poet makes excellent commentary on what we are doing to the wildlife. People cage up animals for their entertainment. Where do you see caged up animals? In zoo and in circuses, right? So it's for the human entertainment that the wildlife has been caged, and they're not where they should be. So with that note, I'll end the poem here. And if you have any questions, if you have any issues, please WhatsApp them to me.